Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to dig into Jeremiah chapter 12. It's a really intense conversation,
Yeah,
between Jeremiah and God. And their prophets basically grappling with this age-old question about justice and why wicked people often seem to, well, thrive.
it is. It's incredibly raw. And Jeremiah, he starts by saying, look, God, I know you're righteous.
Mm-hmm.
He isn't doubting God's fundamental justice. He's asking how it works out in the world he sees. He puts it so plainly. Why does the way of the wicked prosper? Why do all the faithless live at ease? It's a good question lots of people still ask, right?
Absolutely. And he paints this picture of the wicked. They're planted, they've taken root, they grow, even bear fruit, successful. But then there's that huge catch. God is always on your lips, Jeremiah says, but far from their hearts.
Yeah, that disconnect is critical to all surface level talk.
Hmm.
And Jeremiah ties this phoniness directly to the suffering of the land. It's parched, the grass withered. Even animals and birds are dying because of the people's wickedness. It's systemic.
Wow. So their heartlessness has real world, almost ecological consequences in his description.
Exactly. And the people, they just dismiss it. They literally say, he will not see what happens to us. Just total apathy, thinking they're invisible.
Okay, so Jeremiah lays all this out, the injustice, the apathy, the suffering land. And God's response is, well, it's not a simple comfort, is it?
Not at all. He comes back with a challenge, a pretty stark one, using these metaphors like, if you've raced with men on foot and they've worn you out, how can you compete with horses?
Right, like if you think this is hard.
Precisely. If you stumble in safe country, how will you manage in the thickets by the Jordan? God basically saying to Jeremiah, you need to prepare. Things are going to get much tougher than this.
It shifts the focus, doesn't it? From understanding the why right now to building endurance for what's coming.
Yeah, and part of that toughness, God points out, comes from really close to home. He tells Jeremiah, your brothers, your own family, even they have betrayed you. They're shouting against him.
Oof. So the opposition isn't just external enemies, it's betrayal from within his own circle. That's rough.
It is. And this links Jeremiah's personal trial to God's larger view of his people, his inheritance. God's tone gets really severe here. He says, he's going to forsake my house, abandon my inheritance.
Why such a drastic step?
Because, he says, they've turned against him. They've become like a lion in the forest roaring at him. Or another image, like a speckled bird of prey that other birds attack. They've made themselves enemies or targets.
Those are powerful negative images, becoming hostile towards God or vulnerable because of their own actions.
Yes, and the result is devastation. Many shepherds will ruin my vineyard, turning it into a desolate wasteland. And here's the gut punch reason he gives. Because there is no one who cares.
Apathy again. That lack of care seems central to the whole problem.
It really does. A lack of care for God, for the covenant, for justice.
Yeah.
It leads to ruin.
And the consequences sound grim. Sowing wheat but reaping thorns, wearing themselves out for nothing, bearing shame.
Total futility. Their efforts are just empty. And the judgment isn't localized. The sword of the Lord will devour from one end of the land to the other. It's widespread.
Okay, so judgment seems pretty final there, but then the chapter takes a turn.
It does, right at the end.
Yeah.
There's this surprising glimmer of, well, conditional hope. God talks about uprooting Judah, yes, but also the wicked neighbors around them. But then he says, after I uproot them, I will again have compassion.
Compassion after judgment. What triggers that? Is there a condition?
Oh, absolutely, a big one. He says, he'll bring them back if they learn well the ways of my people and swear by my name. It's a complete opposite of their current state where they swear by Baal.
So restoration requires a fundamental change. Learning God's ways, genuine loyalty, demonstrated differently.
Exactly. It's not automatic. It depends on this deep shift in allegiance and practice, moving away from that apathy and false worship.
And if nations don't make that shift?
The alternative is stark. If any nation does not listen, I will completely uproot and destroy it. No middle ground there.
Wow. So the chapter leaves you balancing this heavy reality of consequences for apathy and rebellion against this potential for restoration, but only through authentic change.
That's the tension, yeah. It hangs there.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? This
Yeah.
connection between inner heart state, outward actions, the consequences, and even the possibility of things turning around. Maybe something for all of us to reflect on is what it truly means to care in the way this chapter implies not just lip service, but a care that actually shapes the harvest we're heading towards.